This is a demo of the data X-ray. One of the great benefits of the data X-ray is to be able to understand your data no matter whether it's in the cloud, on-prem, in an AWS environment, in an Azure environment, or even in something that you own on premises. The browse screen lists all the data sources that you have connected. It's really easy to connect new data sources. You have to just go to the Add Data Source screen, and there's various workflows to connect data sources of different types. When you connect a data source, you can click into it and scan it. When you scan a data source, you get a list of what the data X-ray thinks is in the files. So in this very small demo data source, we have 46 files, and of those, around 32 of them have people, 10 have emails, and there's others with political beliefs, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, and other data rule types that you may be interested in. Going down another level, you can go to the individual file level and see within a file how many individual instances of a particular rule have been hit. So for instance, in this CV template, we can even open the file if we have permission to do so, and annotate that file so that we see how the data X-ray is seeing the data inside these files. And the data X-ray is doing this not with just one file, but with millions of files at a time. Here we see we have people and emails, but you can also add other annotators should you wish to. The data X-ray uses a combination of natural language processing to identify things like people and organizations, addresses, essentially things that you would not be able to create a pattern or a dictionary of, and regular expressions and dictionaries for things that are easy to create patterns or dictionaries of. So we have things like email addresses, for instance, that we use regular expressions to identify. Those are very easy to configure in the rules screen. Although the data X-ray comes out of the box with hundreds of different rules, you can create your own rules to be custom to your organization. So for instance, if I want to create a rule for an account number that I'm working on and call this financially sensitive, I can build a regular expression for that. You can use different tests to do that. So if I want to create an account number that has 5 different numbers in a row, I can really easily create a regular expression to do that. And we have a match there and not a match there. We can go ahead and save that pattern, update the rule, and you can then go deploy that wherever you need it. So back at this example network drive, we can go to the settings screen, go to the classification settings, and if I want to deploy one of these account numbers that I've done, I can deploy that very, very easily. Now, you may be wondering, this metadata is great, but how do I actually action it? That's done in the data labels. Data labels are useful for assigning different actions and labels for different things that you're trying to do. In this case, we've created a rule for personally identifiable information that is rotten, essentially redundant, outdated, or trivial. Let's click into this and see what we see. In this case, we have it running across 8 different data sources. So whether it's an S3 bucket, an Azure blob, a NAS device, or an SMB drive, or even a OneDrive, we can easily identify files that match the criteria. The criteria we've done is a creation date that's before July 20th, 2022, and that also has both a person and an email in the file. So all we have to do is have that running and update, and the data X-ray will automatically label all files that meet this criteria. You can do simple things like search for those files. So if I want to identify all files that have the PII rot label, I can do that. And I've searched not only across a single data source, but across all the different data sources that I have connected. I can also leverage those labels to do different actions both inside and outside the data X-ray, or even export that information as a CSV for further downstream processing. The case files page is a way to export data. So in case I have a case file with Mariana Greenway DSAR, I can create that and go back to the search. And if I want to find all information with Mariana, I can do that. And I see this CV template that we saw before, and I can go ahead and add that to my case file. Once that case file has some files in it, you can either add different collaborators for the case file so that they can also search within the data X-ray and use and add to the case file, or you can just export that file, that case file. The most simple thing to do is to export the original files. So that just takes a copy of the file and puts it into a zip file. And you can do this simultaneously again across several S3 buckets or Azure blobs, SMB drives, etc. Or you can PDF them as well. So it allows you several different options there. Lastly, you can also automatically redact those files. So if you need to redact those files, you can do that really easily with the redactors that we have built in, or you can create your own redactors. We can start that, and that will process that one file, and that will then leave you with a exportable version of that file downloadable to your browser here. That can again be done with, we've only shown you one file there, but that can be done across thousands of files within multiple data sources at once. Lastly, we have the dashboarding page. This is where you get the basic information about how the data X-ray is behaving, what type of files have findings in them, and other kinds of things around deep diving on your file analytics. That's the whistle-stop tour of the data X-ray. Thank you very much for listening, and please reach out if you have any questions.